Hi there. Good morning. Good morning. It is 10 a.m. in Northern Virginia, and I am excited to be here today and to talk to you about where you need to put your focus on in your business. So many of you signed up for the workshop last week and came and worked with me for a few hours in trying to plan out your successful 2022. And in doing that training, I realized that so many didn't really know the main activities that they need to be working on in their business. So what I wanted to do today is come on and talk to you a little bit more about where you put your focus on in your business. What are the 6 main activities that you need to focus on in your business so that you can see better results, see things that are happening better for you in your business. And oftentimes it can be where you're not really putting the focus in the right area. So I wanted to do this with you today and kind of go over some of those things. I also want to let you know that I'm going to be coming back on Tuesdays at this time regularly, 10 a.m., and kind of giving you some teachings each week, just talking to you about things, how you're doing in your business. As a creative entrepreneur, there's so much that we have to deal with on the regular, and it's important that you have the capability to thrive, to have that profitable business. And so there's a lot of things that we're going to be covering. So let's dive in. I did a small PowerPoint for today just because I think it's easier. We all tend to learn a lot better with visuals, right? So join me as we're going to go through this. And if you're watching this on the replay, totally fine. I'd love to know what your feedback is. If you have some questions, go ahead and put them in there because I'll still come back and answer them during the week, okay? So let's talk about the 6 main activities that you need to have in your business. There are 6 of them, and they really encompass a lot. And so what I thought I would do is give you that overview of what they are and then tell you a little bit more how it breaks down, okay? So there's business development, and I call that biz dev. There's sales, and there's marketing. Most people always put them together. There's fulfillment, which as creatives, this is where we like to stay. And there's operations and administration, which, a lot of people call it the crap work. I like to think of it as kind of like the foundational work, the foundational things that we have to get done. And then there's team management. Now, don't get me wrong, team management, you may be like, I'm a solopreneur. I don't do this with any other people. It's just me. That's okay. You'll see how this fits in. All right. So business development is all about future growth. It's the thinking, the planning, the learning, how you're going to prepare for the future. If you're going to take a course on how to do something, or if you want to learn about how to, do this or that in your business, or you want to take a course on floral design or event design, anything like that. You guys will have to forgive me. I'm still getting over COVID with my cough and everything else. So I do have cough drops with me too in case I need to pop one in. So that's business development, biz dev. Now there's sales, and that's always immediate revenue. It's your direct prospecting. It's your enrollment conversations. How are you selling people in what you're doing? And how are you going to track that? Like, how are you tracking how your sales are going? Are you converting people when they come? You could have several there's so many ways this applies to, right? It could apply to how you're running your business with, if you're doing events, weddings and events, then it would be about how are you able to convert them? Are you able to, when you sit down to sell with them and do a consultation, are you converting them into a sale? It could be, are you, talking to people on the phone and they're ordering and it's for your retail business? How often are you getting that sale? And how often are you able to sell a little bit more than what you think they can handle? Okay, so a lot goes into that. Now, it's different from marketing. And people always are like, sales and marketing, is it the same thing? No. Marketing is all about your future revenue. It's planting seeds for that future sales. That would include your social media. So that would include, what are you thinking about the planning for the future? And are you having any kinds of specials? Are you doing something, to bring people in? How are you getting your leads? That's more about the marketing. So here's the one that we all love to do as creatives, the fulfillment side. These are the cost of goods and services. So what you're creating, what you're delivering, and once somebody says yes to you, what are you doing from there? And this is where we love to spend our time, right? Because we're creatives and this is how we got into our business to begin with. But then there's operations and administration. So that's the maintenance. That's the foundational stuff we all have to do. It's returning emails, it's talking to people and supporting them in whatever they have questions about. It's the bookkeeping, it's maintaining our business. And part of, some people, I'm going to go back one, under fulfillment, not only is it just about the creating, fulfillment also includes, how are you procuring your product? How are you getting it? What are you, where are you getting it? Controlling your inventory, all of that is part of fulfillment. Operations administration is all more of the paperwork side, the things that you have to do on there. Now, then there's team management, and that's all about hiring, how you're going to manage people, and how you're doing standard operating procedures. This is the thing that I realized when I was starting to do this, that, oh gosh, I didn't realize in my career that I would be thinking about, am I a good manager? Am I handling how I'm handling people coming into my business? That was something that I always would be like, I don't know how I'm doing with that. So it's a good thing to look at, and we're going to find out a little bit more. Now, how do you actually need to spend your time to get the results that you want in your business? This is the main question for today. So, there is a paradox about growth, right? So as your business grows and new clients are coming in and you're spending more time creating and delivering it, it feels like you have less and less time to spend on your sales and marketing. But then you're ignoring your future revenue. And when you do that, your business isn't going to grow. So it's important that you realize that this is a paradox that happens to everyone. It happens to all of us. And so here's the challenge. Is that, creative entrepreneurs spend so much time selling and delivering what they do that they don't get to the real work of business development. And that part is what keeps us from getting those results. And so what you'll find is that, activity doesn't equal results. It will never equal the results that we're looking for. Just because we're busy doesn't mean that we're going to get the growth that we're looking for and the results that we want from the end of the year. So, we have to figure out, how are we going to do that balance, right? How are we going to balance out getting sales and marketing and fulfilling? The fulfillment is what we all want to be able to be working on, not necessarily the sales and the marketing side. So you can spend all day and all night, creating, but unless you're shifting enough time and effort over to that sales and marketing, you're still getting to that same point. Your business isn't going to grow. So where I'm at here is this is the focus that we need to have for successful results. Okay? And so I just broke it down to you here. So on business development, unless you're just starting out, you need to spend less than 40% of your time on your business development. So that would be, how are you thinking about your holidays? Like if you're doing, retail, how are you going to figure out your holidays and what's happening there? So you're talking about your future growth at that point, right? So 10% at the minimum, but no more than 40%. You can see here in this chart, 30 to 50% of our time should be on sales and marketing. And it's interesting to me because I didn't really know these percentages until, maybe even 10 years ago. So if you think about it, I spent over 20 years not really thinking about the right focus for my business. So when you focus on the sales and marketing, you start to see that the rest of these things start to fall in place. 30 to 40% should be on your fulfillment. It's a very different number than we think. When we think about 80% is what normally creatives do in spending on their business, and now you're seeing only 30 to 40% of my time. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing weddings. I'm doing all of these things. How in the world could I only do 30 to 40%? Now, I will tell you that there's cycles, right? There's cycles to our business, and there are going to be times where you're busier than others on the fulfillment side. So that's where you can kind of edge back a little bit. And let's say you look at it as a quarter for 90 days. Where are you going to put your focus on? And during that time, you're going to focus 30 to 50% on your sales and marketing and 30 to 40% more on your fulfillment. Now, the admins, the operations and the administration part, only 1 to 10% of your time. Don't spend the majority of your time on that. This is the one area that if you could get help with, then you should get some help in that area. So that, because it doesn't take a lot. So you need to get your sales up so that you can maybe hire somebody to come in and help you with that paperwork and some of those things that you need help with. And then team management, depending on where you're at. If it's just you, then you're at the 0% range. When you start to grow your team, you're going to have to spend a little bit more time, but it should only take up about 10% of your time. I hope you find this helpful. And some of you, might find that it's completely not what you thought. And so you want to maybe dig into this a little bit more and think about, how are you doing business this way? And, if you're not, you need to be able to step aside and rethink how you're spending your time. Now, what if we're not? And then a lot of people will say, okay, there's a whole bunch of reasons why I'm not. And this is what I wanted to dig into just a little bit more. Because what comes up for you when I say these things? What is happening when I'm talking to you about where you should be spending your time? Are you thinking about, I don't know how to focus on my sales and marketing. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to price my things. How do I price my products and services? These are all things that can come up. And yes, you can get help with all of this, right? Or you may be saying, others are doing this way, but it's not working for me. Why is that? What if they don't buy? Or I don't have a team and I can't do it all. So there's no way I can do that. I don't have time. Or I don't charge enough for what I do. All of these things can come up for us. And it's important to realize that it's not your fault. These are called brake pedal beliefs. These are when we put the brakes on and our brain is saying, okay, we don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. This is where we have to stop it in their tracks, right? Because we have to say, okay, I know this may be the way I'm feeling right now, but is it true? Do I not know these things? Because they can show up as doubt. They can show up as discouragement. It can show up as procrastination, where we're going to put things off because we just don't know. It can manifest itself as anxiety and stress. It also shows up in perfectionism. Believe it or not, because I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. But it can also come and show up in comparisonitis, I call it. It's where we compare ourselves to other people. We compare our businesses to other people's businesses. And we think we should be further along, or we should be doing something different. And that if we just do this, then it's going to work. If we follow this program, then it's going to work. If we do this, follow this guru and what they're telling us to do, then I'm going to have the amazing business. That's not what it's about. So these are all the ways that our brain keeps us safe. And for those of you that were on the workshop this past week, it pretty much said, the difference from where you are and where you want to be is 5 inches. It's these inches right here. It's the 5 inches that happens between our ears. And it says, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. This is why I'm having these struggles in my business. And so, the good news is that there are ways to beat this. And there are ways to create new thought patterns and break free of those pesky ants and their automatic negative thoughts. They're the thoughts that come up and they keep us from doing what we can do best in our business on a daily basis. And so what I want you to know is that it's okay. And it's going to be something that I will work on and talk to you more about coming up. If you ever have a question and you want something and you are like, what, I need some clarity around this. How can I get help? I would love for you just to reach out. Schedule a clarity call with me. It's a 15 quick minute call, and I'd love to chat with you more about where you want to go. So I'm going to drop the link in the feed here. Let's see here, so that you can get the call. And let me see. Because I think it's so important for you to get where you want to be in your business and find out where you are, where you're going to show up the best this year in 2022. 2022. Why did I even say 2020? You can see how things happen, right? We start thinking about maybe I don't want to repeat that year. So I'm going here really quick so I can get the link for you. And then I'm going to copy it into the feed. So I want you to have a prosperous business this year. And, I believe that there's so much that we do that can keep us from being and having such amazing results. And so I want you to be able to focus on how you can show up, how you can get the results you want, and how to get rid of these brake pedal beliefs that are keeping you from getting the results that you want. But it takes action on your part, and it takes some change probably. So where are you putting the focus on in your business? Are you able to give the focus in the right places so that you have the maximum coverage for what you want and what you're doing. I hope that this has been helpful today. And if it has been, great. Just leave me a note in the chat. I'd love to be able to converse with you and find out where you are and if you've been putting in the right focus. That's it for this week. I will see you next Tuesday for another Take Action Tuesday. Have a great week.